Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mission Dharma online. Happy to be with you this week, as always. Feeling particularly thankful, being reminded by the Thanksgiving week of all the blessings, and particularly the blessing of being able to meet with you each week, to remember what we need to remember, to fill ourselves so that we can be of some use in this world, so that we can reclaim that feeling of gratitude, of appreciation that arises quite spontaneously and naturally when we come back to ourselves. We come home to this simple experience of being present and awake. So just very happy to be here tonight. And Mary, are you our co-host tonight?
Oh, the other Mary.
Yes,
Mary,
I am.
yes, thank you. Mary.
I'm Mary.
And let me just get my full screen on here. So really the highlight of the evening, I think the greatest source of thanksgiving and gratitude is for our existence. So easy to take for granted. Our body with its senses, the immediacy of the living present, which is so different from past and future, which are mental. And we're even the past and future, we can regard with some thanks that we can think about them. But I think the highlight, as I was saying, is our time alone together, sitting, transmitting to each other our best of intentions, that sustained period of non-harming, of cultivating a heart that is open, a mind that is clear, a passionate experience of life right where it touches us. So easy to take for granted, so easy to miss. So let's just sit together. And then if there are more thoughts and remembrances to be made, we'll do that later. In the meantime, find a comfortable posture. Hopefully it's relatively upright and, maybe most important, relaxed as possible without trying to force relaxation. Whatever allows your body to be just the way it is, to let it go, to let it be, to let your body come to a gentle stillness, held softly, lovingly in awareness, as though your body is giving thanks to the supportive environment of being aware. Your awareness is giving thanks to the body for being a host to this unconditional mind, this original mind, the knower, the seer in us. Without this body, we cannot appreciate. So just this simple coming together of awareness, appreciating the fact of awareness, the fact that you're aware, the coming together of this awareness with the felt experience of sitting body. During this sacred pause, this formal practice, feeling your sitting body so intimately that the idea of it melts away. And there's just sensation, just that elemental experience of density, pressure, vibration, temperature, cohesion, moisture. No eyes, no ears, no tongue, no back, no front, just these points of sensation that flicker in our direct experience like stars in an evening sky. We feel it just the way it is. We let these sensations that are here call us to real time. We let the sensations brighten, what's sometimes described as the full moon of wisdom, brightening the awareness. Awareness, wisdom, sati panya. Awareness has not only this knowing quality, but it has space, it has intelligence, it has creativity and responsiveness, clarity. So be aware of the sitting body and notice and enjoy the life breath. That breath that we all share that animates this life. The spirit that moves inside of you, that moves inside of me, that binds us all in connection. So feel and enjoy the body's experience of its own breathing. Noticing how breath, when it enters the body, the body expands. It registers sensations at the nostrils, upper lip, chest, belly, or the whole body. How it contracts with the out-breath. How everything lets go when the body breathes out. Thankful for this life breath, for its sustaining power. Just this breath, just this moment. Even when you forget that you're breathing, when you're unaware of breathing, the breathing goes on generously, offered. This is nature. But this is an opportunity to really connect with this miraculous experience of breathing and sustaining that connection through the duration of the in-breath then the out breath. And noticing how awareness continues even after the out breath has ended and before the next in breath. There is the space, the silence of awareness. Breathing in and breathing out. And then sometimes this gap. Sustaining attention to the feeling of the body breathing as long as it lasts, knowing that from time to time thoughts will come and we may not notice they're arising and might get absorbed in a memory, a worry, a plan. Not to be concerned about this, but to then appreciate, give thanks to that moment of reawakening. Mindfulness re-arises without any judgment or evaluation. Just be available to the next arising breath or any other experience that may call you to attention. It may be a sound, it may be a mood, maybe a thought or an image. Welcome everything. Give thanks to everything that can be known. It is all generously offered, unbidden. This mind stream. Just this moment, just this breath, just this moment of reawakening, just this experience that may be predominant. Thanking, giving thanks for anything that presents itself. Just this moment. Just this breath. Just this body. Giving thanks for not having to lift out of this moment to find what we're looking for, that the point of our practice is only and always arrived at in the present moment. We're giving thanks that we can settle back into the moment. We can experience the relief of the cessation of toppling forward, obsessing about what's next, to fulfill the promise of our practice, to find our home in reality. Just this moment, just this breath, or whatever is predominant. Thankful for this simplicity. Thanks for the relinquishing of strain and tension. Letting go of greed in the mind to make something happen. Resistance in the mind to keep things away. Relinquishing of delusion, of personalizing everything. Just this breath, just this moment, just things as they have come to be. Nothing added. Yet completely sufficient, just this moment. No matter how many times you get lost in thought, give thanks when you wake up to where you are. This is a miracle. This is grace. Coming back to your senses. Rather than judge, give thanks. Now you're here, awake, senses open. All desires have been fulfilled in this moment of waking up. Just this moment. Just this breath or whatever is predominant. Give thanks for that opportunity to begin again. Every moment is a new beginning. Very nice sitting with all of you, as always. You have to admit that it's different than sitting alone. There's a lifting power, a sacred power in practicing with other people. I'm very thankful for that. It's just such a more vital experience than practicing home alone, which is also a wonderful experience, but there's just nothing like sangha, satsang, associating with others for the purpose of awakening to what's true, reality. Not the idea of reality, not but just this vital present. And so I'm very thankful for that. And for those of you who are Canadians, you may not know that this is our American Thanksgiving week. So that's why I'm kind of on this Thanksgiving theme, even though when I reflect back on all the times at Mission Dharma, I'm pretty sure that every week I'm giving thanks. Every week I'm feeling grateful for you, for so many elements that I'm reminded of when we come together to practice. And I think without this practice, I tend to be like everyone else. We tend to just take things for granted. We tend to forget this precious existence, the fragility of it, the temporariness of it, and the miracle of it, the unexplainable nature of our existence. The fact that we have eyes that see, ears that hear, and we always have to remember when we give thanks for these senses that there are those who can't see, there are those who can't hear, there are a lot of people who can't smell now or taste, as with the effects of COVID. There are those who have become, either from trauma or for other reasons, disembodied, can't feel their body. No, they were not. No one modeled embodiment. Nobody modeled emotional articulation. So some people just don't feel their bodies, or their body is an enemy. So I'm so thankful for the sacred Dharma that has one main goal, is to put our mind back in our body and our body back in our mind, and let all the magic that occurs, all the awakening that occurs from just this simple coming together, when it's sustained over a long period of time. And then thanks for what that opens us to, the joys of presence, but also the capacity to be available to the sorrows. They talk about in the Zen tradition the 10,000 joys and the 10,000 sorrows. But all these things are made, I think, more accessible because we're practicing together. And I know that I get inspiration from being here, from functioning in the role that I do, and I'm thankful for that. That's just a start for the evening. I just wanted to say that. But I would like to have all of us just say good evening to each other, so that it's not just me. Please feel free to allow yourself to be seen if you're comfortable with that, and be heard, and just say hey and say where you're calling in from.
Hello, this is Melinda from Bodega Bay.
Hey, Melinda.
Big love from Nashville.
Very good.
Jerry.
Hi.
Terry from Victoria.
Hey, Victoria.
Susan from Victoria.
Terry from Tucson.
Hey,
Laura
Terry.
from Maryland.
Terry, I'm in
Wow.
Tucson right now.
Oh yeah.
David from Burlingame.
Yay, Burlingame.
Hey, everybody. Oops. Hi, from San Francisco.
I'm Joe. I'm in Garberville.
Frank, San Francisco.
Joel and Susan from Berkeley.
Yay.
Hey, Berkeley.
Lori's in San Francisco. Hi, Howie.
Hey.
Mary from
Melinda
Santa
San
Barbara.
Francisco.
Another.
Barbara.
Bless you.
Beautiful. Thankful for all of you. I think before a few things I want us to do tonight, just while we've broken the ice a little bit in hearing each other, maybe we would take a little bit of time to in very brief, they talk about it when we do counsel, one of the values is brief, to the point. They call it lean. So if people could just feel free we'll take about 10 minutes or so to say what you may be thankful for or grateful for, if you're open to it. And I would just say, if someone is speaking, just let them speak. And then when they're finished, then jump in. And if we have several people jumping in at once, we'll work it out. So don't hesitate. So feel free to just unmute again and say anything that you're thankful for.
Well, it's our
Physical.
community of like-minded friends.
Beautiful. Thank you, Joyce.
Physical strength.
Mm.
I'm thankful for humor as a response to a lot of what's gone on.
Well said. Thank you.
Thankful for being mindful in the present moment and learning how to concentrate and have insight.
Oh,
Yes, the opportunity to grow.
Thankful for family.
thank you.
I'm thankful for, of course, the Sangha, my health, so many things, but especially I have a grandbaby due either this week or next, within the next week. And I'm very excited about it. And for some reason, I'll be very quick. I don't remember feeling this way before with my son or other grandchildren. I am just amazed at the miracle of this person who doesn't exist will suddenly exist and have a body and a mind and a spirit, and it really is miraculous. So I'm
you.
feeling that a lot.
Thanks for sharing in your celebration. Sharon, you started to speak.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm so grateful for my mother-in-law, Anne, who is 95 and living in San Francisco, and she'll be taking us to dinner on Thursday. And it's just a miracle. She supported me so much this year while her son, my husband, was ill. So we're all back on our feet, and she's amazing. She's super amazing.
Yes, wonderful.
I'm so grateful for the Sangha. Thank you so much, Howie, for keeping this going for so long. It has meant so much to me to be here with all of you, especially because I'm on the East Coast, and being a mom,
being all the way in Maryland, it's very late at night for me. It's the one time I can really set aside just for me to do this every week. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I would have been for this past year. So thank you. All of
Thank
you.
you, and love having you along, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm thankful for Zoom because it's allowing an evening like this to happen.
Thank you, Frank and Rhonda.
I'm thankful for the loving presence that makes all this possible.
Thank you. You embody that, Jerry.
Thankful for this practice, this ability to experience peace, deep inner peace, for myself and for the others that we share it with.
Thank you, Christopher. Love that you're with us. In Edmonton.
I'm grateful for the trees and for being able to live underneath the trees.
Gorgeous. Thank you. The bounty of the earth.
I'm thankful for this cat that lives with us that shows incredible amounts of love, even though it annoyingly climbs into our laps when we're trying to sit and meditate. But it's a delightful animal nonetheless.
Beautiful. Animal gurus. Love bombs.
I'm thankful for everyone here who is sitting in community because, I usually only sit for about 20 or 30 minutes on my own, but somehow doing it in community, I can sit for so much longer. And really grateful to you, Howie, for holding the space and for being such a beautiful guide.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you were echoing what I was saying about there's something about practicing together, and may it continue. May it the teachings say may it continue, may it increase, may it never wane. But of course we know everything wanes, but still we wish that it continues and that we continue to benefit. So thanks for naming that again, Joyce. Last call.
I'll say I'm grateful for these dogs that have kept me up and down through this little meditation for their bodily needs, and me being able to look at my frustration with that and softening of my heart with that at the same time.
Beautiful. Thanks, Melinda.
How about you, Howard? Are you going to take a turn?
Oh, I'm gonna overtake a turn. But first, Mary is going to give a couple little announcements, and maybe Mary, would this be a good time to talk about your idea or about?
Oh, sure. Yeah, being Thanksgiving and all, and gratitude is in the air. One thing I'm doing with my Sangha at Richmond Insight, which everybody seems to be enjoying, is that we're doing a gratitude string or text. We're doing it in text. We're not going to do it in text here. We're doing it in Facebook. But basically each day you name 3 things starting with the letter A. And then the next day is 3 things with the letter B, and then next, and on and on. And so, it's 26 days of gratitude. And I'll just start that as a string on Facebook if you'd like to pop in and share. we've been doing it for a couple days at my Sangha, and so far there's been a lot of appreciation for apples and birds. So, anyway, but just tune into Facebook. I'll just start that, and if you want to pop in and add your gratitude, that would be lovely.
And that is the Mission Dharma Facebook.
Mission Dharma Facebook, yes, and I will put that on there after we are done here tonight.
Great.
So thank you for the ability to plug that, Howie.
Oh, my pleasure.
Um,
we remember I mentioned this a lot, but we started a gratitude buddy system, and there are some people up in Oregon who may even be with us tonight who joined a group of 3 people together, and they're still doing it 12 years later.
Yeah.
There's still, I think it's either weekly, or I think it's weekly if I'm not mistaken. And so it's a beautiful thing to infuse in our mind stream and not just wait until Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah,
what's lovely, we've been doing it on this text string, and with each share, it's kind of like, oh, and that's something else to be grateful for. So it really sort of triggers that sense of gratitude when you're seeing what other folks are grateful for.
You catch it from people who have it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so back to the other. Okay, it looks like Joyce is sharing a WhatsApp group. Okay, great. Thank you, Joyce. So in terms of announcements, we have Howie's, for folks who are up near Vancouver on the weekend of December through the 5th, you'll be doing an in-person, correct?
In person, I think it's the first BCIMS in-person retreat since COVID started. I think I was the last in person before COVID, and that will be at the Asian Center at UBC, sponsored by BCIMS. I think you can, people in the.
I just put the link in the box.
Great, fabulous. Thanks for mentioning that, Mary.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And then finally, just a word about Donna. I really, for me, that's, gratitude and generosity and Donna really just go hand in hand, sort of this appreciation, outpouring of the heart of appreciation and gratitude. So I have the Donna information in the box, and thank you in advance for any generosity that you can offer. Much appreciated. And back to you, Mr. Cohn.
Thank you. So let's just that's a lot of conversation, a lot of, just a lot of words already. So let's just take a few minutes pause to just maybe stretch or just digest what's happened so far, feel the residue of the sharing of gratitude, of the practice. Feel free to use this time to offer Donna if you like, but really just to take a few minutes pause, and then I'll continue in 2 minutes. Thank you for staying with us. I realized when I looked down at some of the notes that I made about things I wanted to speak about, I've said a lot of them already, both through the instruction and then some stray thoughts after the sitting. But I will reiterate a little bit. And I realized one of the things that came up while I was sitting was a certain gratitude for realizing. I didn't actually plan to talk about this. Many years ago, I realized, which is quite, I hadn't realized it to the extent that I did at a certain point, that I was shrouded in privilege, that I was privileged. I knew I was privileged by the comfort that I grew up with, privileged by the having whiter skin than others, privileged by all the influences that I had in my life. I was privileged by having very loving parents, which is not a common experience. Privileged by having models in my life of hard work, of the ability to suck it up even when I don't want to do things, to be able to carry on, to be able to carry on when I'm really uncomfortable. But a lot of that privilege, and privilege has become a dirty word in a way in our culture, because many people are not aware of their privilege. And when people are not aware of their privilege, you've heard this expression before, they are on third base, but they're born on third base, but think they hit. Is that the expression? They're born on third base, but think they hit a triple. When in fact that their privilege was just given to them by circumstances, by all the factors that led them to experience what they did. So just being aware of all the ways that we are privileged, just being privileged to be able to meet like this, with broadband, with senses that are intelligent, that are awake. Just don't take it for granted. And I think one of the things I'm most grateful for is that I'm less and less, at least I try to be less and less shrouded by privilege, but much more conscious of privilege. And what that triggers is the desire, a strong aspiration for everyone. I'm not sure that it can happen, but for everyone to have this support that I've had, for everyone to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel like they have enough, to feel like they have mirrors in their lives, models of well-being. And until the whole world has what you and I have, whatever measure of privilege, there's still passionate work to be done, to be aware, to stay aware. Part of the context of me thinking about this tonight during the sitting is that I was at an event here in the desert in Tucson where we are now at my mom's house. We're with my daughter who's here on Thanksgiving break. But we were at an event with filled with people who are very like the 1%. And maybe it was projection, but I had the sense that they were oblivious. So many I spoke to were oblivious to their privilege. And that's, of course, it triggered a bit of a reaction in me. But then it shouldn't be surprising because we see this in full display and in our media. But I have this opportunity to speak of these kinds of matters, and so I just wanted to say I think we have to be appreciative of our good fortune, not take it for granted, and determined to support the awakening of each other for the benefit of everyone being able to have greater equality of privilege, greater social justice, economic justice, climate justice, everything. And not just let it drift into the background because it's easy to just stay in our little bubble. So again, I didn't expect to speak of that, but that's what popped up during the sitting. But I was especially appreciative and thankful tonight for the frequency of pausing, of stopping for a moment, which we do when we meditate, when we just stop, even if it's a quickie. Just the ability to stop and realize the awesomeness of existence, of the fact that we're alive. In the Tibetan tradition, they talk about reflecting on the preciousness of our birth, preciousness of this life. And it's one of the 4 reminders that one should have every day, so that we don't just get caught up in our obsession with the imagined future, with the obsession with what's next, that we actually take it in and we appreciate the fragility and the vulnerability of our life. I mentioned this before. And that we're at least appreciative of this existence, especially after COVID, when so many people have died, so many people are still feeling grief or just continued impact and continued challenges. How could we not appreciate the preciousness of this existence? And the preciousness of existence is not just what we have. It's just as I was pointing to in the sitting, it's just for being alive. It's that same sentiment that I share so often from Thoreau, says, I'm grateful for what I am and what I have. That's one thing. But he's talking about existence. He says, my thanksgiving is perpetual. He says, it's surprising how contented one can be with nothing definite, but just a sense of existence. He says, oh, how I laugh at my vague, indefinite riches, for no run on my bank can drain it. For my wealth isn't possession, it's the enjoyment of being. So easy to take that for granted. And when we take it for granted, we stop enjoying our being, we start complaining about what we don't have. But if I stay here long enough and just keep sitting, keep taking those sacred pauses, keep noticing what's in and around me, even, and this is the beauty of the Dharma, even the difficulties, if my eyes are open to them, even the difficulties become our path. They become the cause of our awakening and well-being. I read this beautiful passage today from the Venerable Ajahn Chah that somebody had highlighted when they gave it to me many years ago. And I'll read the part that was highlighted and then read you the whole passage. But it talks about being open to everything, the joys and the sorrows, but I can't say it as well as Ajahn Chah did. He talked about coming to ordain as a monk. He says it's not so easy. He says you must determine to make your mind firm. You should be confident in the practice, confident enough to continue practicing until you become fed up with both your likes and your dislikes and see in accordance with the truth. Usually you are dissatisfied with only what you dislike. If you like something, then you aren't ready to give it up. You have to become fed up with both what you like and what you dislike, your suffering and your happiness. You don't see that this is the very essence of the Dharma. The Dharma of the Buddha is profound and refined. It isn't easy to comprehend. If true wisdom has not yet arisen, then you can't see it. If you don't look forward and you don't look back. When you experience happiness, you think that there will be only happiness. There will only be happiness. When there is suffering, you think that there will be only suffering. You don't see that whenever there is big, there is small. Whenever there is small, there is big. You don't see it that way. You see only one side, and thus it's never ending. There are two sides to everything. You must see both sides. Then when happiness arises, you don't get lost. When suffering arises, you don't get lost. When happiness arises, you don't forget the suffering because you see that they are interdependent. In a similar way, food is beneficial to all beings for the maintenance of the body. But actually, food can be harmful. For example, when it causes various stomach upsets. When you see the advantages of something, you must perceive the disadvantages also, and vice versa. When you feel hatred and aversion, you should contemplate love and understanding. In this way, you become more balanced and your mind becomes more settled. So I've spoken about it before at Mission Dharma, but I'm a work in progress in being open as well to the difficulties, the suffering, as I am to the joys. But I have to say that every kind of suffering that I have through kicking and screaming or intentionally turned toward, leaned into, every single kind of suffering that I experienced and experienced directly, it has become the cause of more well-being and more peace. It is, and that's the magic, and I'm very thankful for that. The magic of the Dharma, the magic of mixing awareness with both the joys and the sorrows. I promise to bring back again a talk on just stories of suffering, because they're really stories of joy. I'll just give you one that's come to mind just now. I think I may have even talked about it recently. There was a period of my practice that lasted about 3 years, where every time I sat, I experienced an internal achiness, an intense achiness. And at times that achiness was so strong, it felt like my body was being kind of broken apart. And it's kind of a classic phase in practice. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it was very unpleasant. Unfortunately, I would occasionally alternate periods where the body was easeful, but the predominant experience over about 3 years was internal achiness every time I sat. Unfortunately, I had a lot of faith in the practice because it had borne a lot of fruit for me. And so I kept at it. And then in inspiration to keep practicing, I went to Burma and practiced in really difficult circumstances. I was ill the entire time I was there. But there was a certain point where this internal achiness was so persistent that I just, sat with it and sat with it and sat with it. And finally, at a certain point, as I was sitting with this internal achiness, I noticed into my mind this slight impulse that I had not really perceived. I knew in the general feeling that I wish this would go away, or I wish this were different, but I didn't really notice the desire in the mind for a pleasant experience. I didn't notice it. And all of a sudden it floated through my mind like neon. It said, "You're looking for a sweet experience. I'm looking for a sweet experience." And in that moment, after having just felt this incredible contraction, in the moment of seeing that little filter of desire in the mind for a pleasant experience, just from seeing desire, the whole complex of achiness just evaporated. 3 years, I didn't see the level that I was looking for a sweet experience. It's very similar to the story of the Sufi wise person, fool, Mullah Nasruddin, who went to the market one day and he saw that there was a sale on chili peppers. So he bought a bushel of chili peppers and brought them back to the house where he and the disciples were all hanging out. And he started to eat the chili peppers one after another, and he started to perspire and he's sweating profusely, and his students gathered around him and they saw him eating these chili peppers, and he was just sweating and sweating, and they said, "Why are you eating these chili peppers?" And he just kept eating them. And finally, after they asked him several times, he looked up from the chili peppers and he said to them, "I'm looking for a sweet one." And that moment of seeing the desire for a pleasant experience was very similar. It's what we do. And that kind of pain and staying with it kind of led to an understanding of how much this seemingly innocent quality of wanting, what seems like such a natural thing, the desire for things to be different, actually keeps things locked in, keeps us in a state of lack, keeps us in a state of tension. So there are 1,000 stories like this, how difficulties become our manure, what Trungpa Rinpoche called the manure of Bodhi. I'm thankful for that. It's unique to our human experience and unique to the mind that our difficulties can become the cause of our awakening. The Dharma keeps reminding us that the cure for what's difficult is in it, is to feel it, open to it.
See.
Wow, it's close to 9:30 already. I will gently and slowly enough, not rush through it, but I will gently list the other things that I am very grateful for. When my eyes are open and when I am not taking things for granted, I am very grateful for what sustains me. The bounty of the earth. And Joe was talking about being able to, the trees and our animals, but the bounty of what actually sustains us. I think every moment, every meal, we should be bowing in appreciation for what is given by this earth and the light, that how generous the sun just keeps giving generously its light. It's just we live in a sea of generosity. And you take it for granted, we'd start destroying it. So the earth, the bounty of the blessings of this heart mind called chitta, the heart qualities of love, nothing more thankful than to be able to feel that sense of love and caring and joy and have that be able to expand to include more and more beings who are easily left out because of my sentimental attachment to some. But to know that this heart has a capacity to have a boundless love, an impartial love. I'm grateful for that. To have a mind that is aware, and that's given. Talk about generosity. The deepest riches in us is a given. It's unconditional, unborn. And then all that flows from it, the creativity that flows in this world, the intelligence, just so much that flows from our mind. I've already spoken just the bounty or the blessings of, and others have spoken of the blessings of loved ones. I'm so thankful for all the love of this community and all the communities. I actually made a list of all the communities that just thankful for community. It's what keeps us afloat in the Dharma anyway. And I was thinking about the Austin community, the Houston community, the San Antonio community, the Santa Barbara community for many years, the Tucson community, Prescott community, Scottsdale community, Vancouver, Victoria, Salt Spring, Edmonton, Saskatoon, just all the communities and there are just so many everywhere. It's communities that sustain us. So thankful. Thankful for Mission Dharma, thankful for Spirit Rock, thankful for Mission Dharma and our incredibly generous board. Number one board member, Mary, who without Mary, we wouldn't be sustained in the way that we are on so many levels. She gets so many messages out to you and out to the world. and does so many things behind the scenes that you'd never know. Then Catherine G. and Dan, who's not been with us so much lately for some reasons, but then, and Noemi's not here tonight, but Noemi, who's been a board member the longest. And then Howie G, who I think is here tonight, who is a super volunteer. And we've had so many volunteers, and we've had an amazing volunteer project of people taking the time to listen to Dharma talks and naming them and dating them and putting them on the website, things like that. That's generous hearts. So I'm so appreciative of that. But I think community has been so delicious during this pandemic, holding us, keeping us afloat. And again, may it continue, may it increase, may it not wane. Thankful to my teachers. Without my teachers, my teacher, H.W.L. Punja, basically stole my mind, ended my identity of seeker, which was a great blessing. My root Vipassana teacher, Joseph Goldstein, just a turn of phrase and my heart would open, my mind would open. Hearing his first talk on the Four Noble Truths, I wept in joy that somebody was finally saying the way it is. Life has stress if you're born. And Jack Cornfield, who was a great mentor for teaching and just been an incredible, generous support in my life. Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, a Tibetan Lama, and his son, Sokni Rinpoche. Great, boundless generosity. A deceased professor of mine at graduate school, Angeles Arian, maybe some of you did some of her Fourfold Way work. She was incredibly empowering as a mentor in school. Christopher Titmus, another Vipassana teacher who was incredibly empowering, gave me a lot of confidence to be able to function in this role when I had none. Incredible insecurity about being in this role. So lots of gratitude for teachers and my main gurus, my daughter Molly, my wife Annie. Every day Annie provides some kind of insight knowledge that opens my mind and reminds me of the precious, the sacred Dharma, the way it is. So just thank you for all the support that I've received from you, the opportunity to offer support. Just the circle of generosity that's really how the stream of Dharma has carried for 2,600 years. And I feel like I'm part of it and really grateful for that and all of it. So anyway, thank you all. Feel free to, let's hit the gong first. And then once I do, feel free to unmute and say goodnight. But let's just consider all of the 37 years almost of Mission Dharma, all of our time together, all that we're grateful for, that if whatever blessings there are or have been, that we offer them freely to everybody and wish everyone to have the equality of opportunity, to everybody have thankfulness and gratitude growing in their heart and less suffering. And may our practice every day be dedicated to the welfare and benefit of all. So thanks for listening and thanks for being here. Okay, feel free to unmute.